Hey, welcome back. It's been a little minute. I gave myself like this little rule that I will not go 2 weeks or more without posting something. So I was on YouTube today watching stuff, went to my page, and saw that it said 13 days since my last video. So I said, man, I got to get in there. I've been real busy, you guys. I need more than 24 hours in a day, but we got to do what we can do with this 24. So I watched Just a Friend on Tubi. Now, this is short and quick. It's about an hour and 20 minutes. It's giving a real R. Kelly trapped in a closet vibe. So this player dude who only likes to date women who are already in relationships, because basically since they're already attached, all they can do is just offer sex. Now, I know there's some guys that are like that. My thing is though, like, why don't you just find a single woman that just wants that too? But I guess she might get attached, or I'm guessing that's the reason why. So, when I watch these movies, people cheat for the most trivial reasons. Like, he pretty much was chasing her down. He knew she was had a boyfriend because his homeboy told her, hey, that's so and so's girl. So and so was in prison, he got out, right? So she calls herself being lonely and decides to go ahead and mess with this guy. And it's like, is that all it takes for y'all to cheat, is just be a little lonely? Like, oh, he's always on the road, so I'm just gonna go and do whatever. And so, but she trusts her boyfriend because the player dude was like, well, how do you know he doesn't have a family on the other side of town? And asking her questions like, well, when he's out, does he talk to you on the phone? And it's like, when you're in a relationship, you don't know what people are doing. You do just have to take their word for it and trust them. Some people have a don't ask, don't tell policy as far as like when one significant other has a job where they're out on the road a lot. I know there's like sport athletes that have that arrangement going on where it's like, if I'm not mistaken, I'm gonna come back to this movie, I'm kind of trailing off. If I'm not mistaken, Usain Bolt and his mother's children have that type of relationship where when they're together, but when he's out on the road, don't quote me, but I think I heard that somewhere. But when he's out on the road, he's out on the road. Don't ask, don't tell when I come back. So, of course, not the husband, her boyfriend comes home. So he's got to hide in the closet, hide under the bed. And it's like, is it, you doing all that for some coochie that's not yours? So of course the boyfriend is played by, I'm starting to really like his acting. His name is, correct me if I'm wrong, Hassan Diesel, his middle name. No, Camille Diesel Hassan. You've seen him. If you don't know the name, if you watch Tubi movies or movies that take place in Detroit, you have seen him. And so I'm starting to like him because he's showing some range. I like to see some range in my actors and actresses for the most part. I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't enjoy actors and actresses that have that same type of role and stuff. Like, for example, Jennifer Lewis kind of plays the same type of role. She's boisterous, she's loud. She kind of plays that in every role. The mom. But yeah, because the last movie I saw him in was I think it was my last movie that I posted on here, or the one before that, where him and his girlfriend were in it. You Toxic AF. That one, he played that crazy, just abusive, and then in this one he was more laid back. He didn't really get angry until, of course, he found some man under the bed. So, how he found him under the bed, this is funny because his homeboy was like, not the one under the bed, but Diesel's homeboy went out to go get a smoke outside. He sees player trying to climb out the window. They're 2 stories up. So, of course, he didn't make it, but he tells him, man, there's a dude in here. So Diesel running around the house with the gun looking for him. Dude goes back up under the bed. Come to find out, because they're all having like spades night, right? So it's her, Diesel's friend, and his girl, right? They're just chilling, kicking it, whatever. Double date and whatnot. Coming to find out, little player dude had messed with her friend prior to her. Because, that's just his thing. He likes, going around messing with women that have men or whatever. And I guess she caught herself being lonely too because her man was always out on the road. Here's the thing. So they were both dealing drugs. I'm not too familiar with like drug dealing hours. So I didn't know. I guess if you're hustling, whether it's selling drugs, selling Avon, Instacart, like I understand it. Like you have to put a whole lot of hours in because it's not guaranteed same amount of money every time. So I guess that's why they were going a lot. And I do like how Diesel, I'm going to come back to dude being under the bed. I like how Diesel told his friend, look, we're getting out the drug game. We're going to drive trucks, And I want to say this to anybody that's doing anything illegal for money, whether you're selling drugs, making fake checks, selling that cootie cat, I would advise you to stack your money up and create or form a time when you want to stop. Because I feel like, especially when it comes to dealing drugs, if you're like really, really knee deep into it, like you on your BMF stuff, you are either going to eventually get killed or go to prison for a long time. Like you don't see a whole lot of big time drug dealers that from the 80s and 70s that are still around. You don't see a whole lot of them. You see a few of them. And that's because they're either locked up or dead. So I do like that he was like, look, we getting out of that. We're going to go legit and all that. So anyway, he got the gun on player. And so he told his friend, man, I'm about to jump out the window. So his friend's on his way to the house. Now his friend was, I don't want to say the term ride or die because it sounds kind of corny, but he's an A1 friend because homegirl was coming with the pizza. When I say homegirl, I'm talking about the pizza delivery girl's about to drop off the pizza. He was like, don't worry about that, let me get it. He come in there with the pizza, bam, pull the gun on Diesel's friend, and he's like, look, let it come to find out, he knows Diesel kind of on a personal level, because he's like, what, you know him? And of course, the girl he's like, you're cheating on me? Diesel, I can't believe you, blah, blah, blah. And of course she's crying and stuff. Girl, when people cheat and they get caught by whether it's their man, their woman, why do you want to start all this crying and I'm so sorry? Like, were you thinking about that when you was doing your thing? Like, I'd rather you just be stoic and just be like, yeah, I'm caught. I mean, but I guess that could piss some people off. They might be like, you're not feeling enough to me. You don't even seem upset that you got caught. So, and at the end, because it does the little kind of cliche thing where they're like, you're wondering how I ended up in this situation, and then they go backtrack. I actually enjoy that in movies. I think it's cute. At the end, he's like, man, was it worth it? Hell yeah. Like, dude, you almost got your face blown off over some women. But there's some people like that. There's men who date women who are attached. There's women who like to date men that are attached. I think a lot of times it's the thrill. It's forbidden. Because there's been so many cases where I've heard that the wife divorces her husband because she finds out that he cheated on her. And he still doesn't even end up with the mistress, because it's like half the fun was us sneaking around and, trying not to get caught and texting in the corner. she about to go to sleep. Leave the back door open for me. See, you ain't got to do all that anymore. Now it's not fun. But yeah, Just a Friend on Tubi. Let me know what you think about this. I'm assuming you already saw it. Shout out to Detroit again. I shout them out a lot on these movies because I feel like Detroit is experiencing kind of like a Harlem Renaissance type of thing, because when you think about Detroit, if you're not from there or never been there, like I've never been there, what comes to your mind? You know, dilapidated houses, crime, you know, a bunch of empty buildings. You might think of, you know, Motown, car dealerships. So and people, I know people make fun of movies on Tubi and everything, but you know, when you're dealing with a low budget, you got to kind of deal with what you're dealing with. But for them to be building this, you know, like it may not be Hollywood level, but they're building this this movie industry in Detroit, this I feel like movement. Someone compared it to the blaxploitation films in the 70s. Like in the 70s, you had these groups, for any of you who don't know, I'm pretty sure if you're watching this, you're probably old enough to know what that means, but blaxploitation movies were like Sheba Baby. I don't know if Dracula would be considered that. That's more horror. But like, you know, people are divisive about it, because the images in a lot of those blaxploitation movies weren't positive. But you have to look at the time period it came out in. Like in the early mid-70s, black people were starting to come on TV as far as being like main characters and having a mainly black cast. And I feel like they just kind of had to do what they could to step out there. So, you know. But anyway, that's a whole nother video. I might make a video on that. But let me know what you think about Just a Friend. Now on Tubi. Shout out to my 158 subscribers. Shout out to the rest of you as well who are not subscribed, but you know you can hit that button for me. I'm definitely going to be trying my best to get on here, man. I said there's a lot of good stuff out. So hang in there with me. I'm trying to get to 1,000 by the end of this year. You know, that doesn't sound like a lot by social media standards, but it is when ain't nobody watching you like that. So shout out to you all that are watching me, that share my videos, that talk to me in the comments. I really do appreciate it, all right? Peace and blessings to each and last every one of you. Until next time.